Today, let's talk your digital decor for your personal brand, a checklist for you to audit your online presence. Grab your cup of tea and let's dive into my top 10 tips. Your personal brand is more than your bio, your resumes, and your reputation. It is the overall feeling that people get when they're around you that contributes to the impression that you leave on others. I have always had an obsession with interior design and homewares, and despite having worked in fashion for over a decade alongside my marketing career, I would still pick a purchase in homewares over a handbag any day of the week. And this obsession with interior design and aesthetics led me to think about what this means when it comes to your personal brand. And seeing your personal brand not just as a visual brand, but also as a decor. It is a feeling that it is giving other people. And is it helping to make people feel at ease with your personal brand, or is it making them feel slightly uncomfortable? Is it adding to the impression that you want to make, or is it potentially a missed opportunity when it comes to what it is that you want to communicate? One thing loving interior design and architecture and working in fashion retail taught me was that there is the common thread of this idea of atmospherics. And this is not only thinking about the form and function of a space, but the overall feeling and mood that it creates for the people that are experiencing it. That's why so much effort is put into the little details when you go into, say, your favorite store, and the feeling that it gives you when you have that experience. So let's translate this to your personal brand and those little details that can have a big impact on the feeling that you are creating for the people that you are interacting with. I'm going to start off with a few tips related to LinkedIn, and I have a bonus tip for LinkedIn at the end of this episode as well. Number one is elevate your LinkedIn profile headshot. Pick a photo that is light, bright, and inviting. Your LinkedIn profile headshot is the digital handshake in the professional realm online. So make sure that it is creating the impression that you want it to be able to foster the relationships that you want to on the platform. Number two is to set your LinkedIn profile banner with intention. You can see your LinkedIn profile banner as almost like being a feature wall of your digital home when it comes to your professional brand online. So what is this feature wall saying about you? Keep in mind, as I've mentioned on this channel before, when you stick to the default options on LinkedIn, this is a missed opportunity to represent the value that your personal brand has to offer, to showcase your personality on the platform more as well. So how is your LinkedIn banner communicating for you? How is it adding to the digital decor of your professional brand? Tip number three is to polish your LinkedIn profile URL to create a cohesive professional brand. So don't just stick to the default options that you are given when it comes to your LinkedIn profile. Use the opportunity to customize your URL, which you can do for free. I would personally stick to using your full name if that is available, because I just think it looks the most professional, and say if you're applying for jobs, it will match your resume and your documents in a really nice way. But if that isn't available, or perhaps you're not as concerned with communicating your full name or using the more conventional corporate approach to things, then you might like to consider if there is an opportunity to add to your LinkedIn URL an indicator of the field of expertise that you bring to the marketplace. For example, you might be Anna Smith Accounting if Anna Smith potentially isn't available. And it's just a nice way to add a little bit of personality to your profile and also use that opportunity to highlight your expertise further as well. Number four is to project a professional email address. Your email address is in our modern world, a bit like the letterhead of stationery. It is often the first thing that people will see. So, what is it saying about you? Is it professional? Is it suitable for the kind of environment that you work in? Is it your full name, for example, which would be my preferred default option if that was available? Or is it something that is potentially a little bit more fun, which can work if you maybe work for yourself and it relates to your branding and it suits the brand that you have established? But if you are, say, applying for jobs in a more streamlined sort of corporate environment, then it would make sense to have something that is quite professional and hopefully uses your full name if that is available for you. But just make sure that you're not using the email address that you had when you were in year 6 and you first created your email account, because the chances are, if it's anything like the email address that I had at that time, that it's not going to be something that people think is a great impression for your personal brand. Number 5 is to check the username on your video calls. My default again would be to choose your full name, because if you are, say, applying for jobs or you are wanting to network with people in general, then you may as well use that opportunity to put your full name in headlights in front of them instead of just your first name. It's just a missed opportunity if you don't, and it's easy enough to be able to pop your full name on there, and it's standard practice anyway. And I would just be wary about if you're using names that are a little bit more fun, again, in this context, or maybe not appropriate, or maybe just don't leave the best impression about your professionalism, say if you are applying for a job. For example, if it is a joint account that you share with your partner, ask yourself if that leaves the best impression when it comes to you interacting in a more professional environment. Number 6 is to curate your video call backgrounds. Your background for your video calls is an opportunity to express a little bit of personality when it comes to your professional brand. And I know, depending on the environment in which you take your video calls, you might not have a lot of flexibility as to how this looks, and that is completely understandable. That's why I think it's great to use the blur option that a lot of the platforms will let you have, because at least things will then look neat and tidy when you are on the call. And if you aren't using any of those backgrounds, then make sure that your environment at least is neat and tidy. It's okay, I think, to show your personality and your character through your backgrounds, but just make sure that it's not messy in general, because I think it just personally leaves a better impression when someone can communicate with you in a neat and tidy environment and not be distracted by the things around you too much, or be thinking about what impression that is leaving on them about you. And I also prefer to not use the digital background options. I know they can be fun and some of them are really lovely, but when you are actually on the call with someone, I feel like because of the way that it can glitch around sometimes, that it can just also be a little bit distracting when it comes to that interaction. But think about if there is the opportunity to showcase your personality in a professional way when it comes to your video calls. My tip number 7 is to clear the digital clutter on your desktop. I get it. Throughout the week, your desktop gets more and more messy as your week progresses and you start to put more things on there that you haven't had a chance to file away yet. But in the world that we are currently living in, the idea of hosting calls or screen sharing or maybe doing this unexpectedly is more and more common. So try and be prepared with a neat and tidy desktop, especially if part of your role is to often be hosting or to be screen sharing. So you are leaving a positive impression for your professional brand in terms of the organization skills that this shows, the calmness and the clarity that just this moment of seeing a neat and tidy desktop can bring. I've been in a lot of meetings when people are sharing their screen and they pull up their desktop for a minute, but they have to almost immediately apologize for it and explain it away as organized chaos, which is absolutely fine. But I also think that it's a nice opportunity to just create that really neat and tidy, clean environment for people. It's almost like if people are coming to your house, you would normally, well, I do anyway, you try and tidy up before they come. You know, you put away those papers or the little things that might have accumulated just to make sure that it feels like a nicer space for them to be in. So when it comes to your work and your digital presence, just those little details can make a difference as well. And you can also use the image on your desktop to project more of your personality in a professional way as well. For example, I once had on my desktop an image of the peonies flowers, these pink peonies flowers that my husband gave me on the day that he proposed. I had taken a photograph of it and I used it as my desktop. It was light and bright, and a lot of people noticed it and they would comment on it, and then it would create a little starting point in that conversation that just helped to build a little bit of rapport during some interactions. So think about if there is an opportunity with your desktop to communicate some of your personal brand as well. Number 8 is to create an inviting personal brand website. Now, this might be something that you already have, it might be something that you don't have and you perhaps don't feel that you need. But if you do have it or you're exploring the idea of having it, then think about this as being the digital home for your professional brand. What is the experience that you are creating on a platform like your personal brand website? Think about people entering your website as though they are entering your digital home. What is the feeling that you are creating through the design choices that you make on your website? The little choices that you make in terms of photos or the spacing that you use can have a big impact on your visitor experience. Number 9 is to establish a rhythm with a signature personal brand color. Now, this is a concept that is popular in interior design because a signature color or a color palette throughout a space helps to create rhythm and flow through a space. Because, for example, your eyes can move to seeing that same color throughout the space. It creates a really nice cohesion to the environment. So when it comes to your digital personal brand, your digital decor, how is your signature color or your signature palette being used to create a rhythm through that space? Or more than that, how that rhythm is carried across all of your different platforms to really elevate that cohesion across your personal brand. And my tip number 10 is to redesign your LinkedIn profile as though it was a signature brochure. Your LinkedIn profile is set to particular default settings, and with just a few little changes, you can almost re-merchandise your LinkedIn profile to make it be more of a memorable experience for someone that is visiting your profile. And there are just a few little clicks that are going to help you to do this. I almost like to see this, if you're relating this to digital decor, as being like hanging art on the wall. For example, there is the feature section of your LinkedIn profile, which you may or may not be using. This allows you to pin content to the top of your page, no matter how old that post is. So you can take things that are particularly relevant, that align with the professional brand that you want to communicate, and pin that to your page. So it's one of the first things that people are able to see. The other thing that I talk about on this channel, which is a really quick win when it comes to your LinkedIn profile, is your activity section. Your activity section is going to automatically default to show your latest posts, but there are options that you can change that section to customize the experience that the visitors on your profile are having. And some of those include defaulting to your videos or your articles, for example, and there are other options in there as well. So what I would recommend is thinking about the option that is most going to showcase your professional brand related to what it is that you want to communicate. For example, if you create engaging videos that showcase the depth of your expertise, you might like to set your default to a video. And if you have engaging thumbnails for this as well, this is going to help to set the tone for that personal brand experience in a way that's going to have likely a much higher impact than if you were just sharing your latest post, which might not necessarily be quite as relevant to the personal brand positioning that you are aiming for. So go back over this checklist of 10 tips and see if you can elevate the digital decor of your personal brand. Thanks so much. To learn more about personal branding, subscribe for more like this, and I'll see you in the next episode.